Now, witches are very curious people.
Hello and welcome to The Witching Hour, a monthly podcast for the creative horror fan, where we discuss topics related to the horror genre from creepy history, lore media, and anything creative, all with the hope that we can inspire and motivate you to create your own horror. I'm your host, Sade.
I'm Rebel.
And I'm Ophelia.
And we are your always enthusiastic but not always professional hosts.
Hey!
Joining us today from UCA and host of Creepy Cooking Staff, Alan Chaney.
Hello, everybody.
And we're going to talk about reboots and remakes in Hollywood. And actually, before we get to that, I want to hit a couple things.
What things do you wish to hit?
First off, let's take a quick moment to thank our patrons. Because we haven't been on Patreon too long, but we've had a nice, steady group of patrons who've been super supportive since we just...
Thank you!
Yeah, thank you. We did turn 3 this year, the podcast, and we do want to do something with the patrons to celebrate, so I'm going to put it out there that I'm thinking we might do a late, but still do maybe like a live stream, where I force Ray to play Resident Evil 2 or something.
What platform is that for again?
We would be playing it on my PS4.
What was it originally, though?
PlayStation?
Yeah.
Was it... Okay, yeah, it was your
The
PlayStation.
PS1 game, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I was like, was that like along the lines of like Silent Hill 1? Like,
There was also a terrible port on the Nintendo 64.
oh god,
Ooh.
Naturally.
Whoa. Okay, yeah.
Yikes.
But yeah, so that's something that we'll try to be doing fairly soon. Maybe this month. Maybe next month. I'll get on it, I promise. I do want to ask also patrons to check on their pledges. I have noticed that there's a couple that have been declined each month, and I don't know. I know Patreon messes things up, so I don't know if it's just Patreon's fault or if pledges need to be updated.
It's only people's livelihood, I mean.
Well, I mean, we're certainly not living off of it, but it does help go to supporting the
Jeez,
show.
she
so-
just knocked hardcore into you, Capricorn style. She's just like, I'm gonna do a swift kick to the knees with the I'm starving. Like,
Oh, God.
No, I'm blaming Patreon because they have yeah.
Oh, yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, not the patrons. They're great. Patreon's the ones who keep switching banks or something like that, and then
Making
messy
it
things up
difficult
for everybody.
everyone. But anyway, thank you, patrons, for your support.
Thank you.
And the other thing I wanted to touch on is I wanted to hit a couple things from previous episodes, like afterthoughts. Alan wasn't able to join us for those, but he can comment on this if he wants. One thing was the last episode where we were talking about ghost stories. I realized one thing that none of us mentioned was, a good ghost story. You also kind of need doubt in that if it's supernatural or not. I don't think any of us hit on that note.
That's a good one.
So, is it really ghosts, or is the narrator or the protagonist just kind of crazy? None of us touched on that, and I was like, whoa, we really missed on.
Isn't that the one thing that makes the novelization of Hill House
Yeah.
one of the best books, horror novels? I've literally never read it, but it's one of Brett's favorite books.
You should read it, because
Yeah,
I had to read it for
really
Darkly
need to.
Lit, and I really liked it. Tell Brett that I really liked it.
Yeah, because it's one of her favorites, because it's and she's like, yeah, that's the entire thing that makes it spooky.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, and that's why so many of the adaptations of it for film are bad, because they, outright are just there are ghosts, they're real. And you're like, yeah, well, you can't take it. This is what sorry.
No, it's good. That's why I'm bringing these up, because we didn't touch on them. The other thing, Ravel was asking what the name for the ghosts that are, essentially what Sadako is. The vengeful.
Yeah, I can't remember what the official Japanese name was for them.
I was really angry at myself for not remembering. They're called Onryo.
Okay.
Okay?
Onryo.
Onryo.
I only know the, Chinese version.
That ghost is very distinct, how they look visually, the white with the long black hair. It does come up in different Asian cultures.
Dude, aren't they remaking The Ring?
They're remaking The Grudge, and we will get to that.
No.
That is exactly what we're talking about today. The
That's
last
right.
thing, on our Bundy episode, I think we forgot to talk about the bite marks and how they, took the cast of his teeth.
And that's how they
What?
matched him?
That's how they matched him to, I think, what was...
Oh, yeah.
So,
Damn.
we completely, like, skipped over that detail, and shame on us.
Yeah, no, for real.
I'm innocent. I didn't know anything about Ted Bundy before
But
that.
we'll have a chance to redeem ourselves, because we are going to come back and talk about the Netflix documentary, and when we all see shockingly twisted, vile, whatever, I forget the whole thing.
You mean Zac Efron.
Zac Efron
basically.
Bundy movie.
Zac Efron.
Once we
Bundy
see
set.
both of those, we'll come back to that. Okay, and that is, I don't know, they call it housekeeping on My Favorite Murder. That was my that.
Oh, there you go.
Cleaning up loose ends, yeah.
Yeah, loose ends. There you go. Okay, so let's talk about reboots and remakes in Hollywood. And this might mostly just be complaints.
I just
All right, on a
wanna
scale.
say,
Sorry.
I just want to say real quick, when Sade was first like, "Hey, let's do this podcast episode about remakes," my immediate reaction was Disney, and then Sade was like, "We're a horror podcast." It's like, oh yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
we can touch a
I
little
love
bit
it.
on Disney because they're probably the prime example right now of like Hollywood's problem.
See, here's the dealio. Quick question, which I meant to ask earlier before we were recording, but you're stuck with me now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how communist do you want me when I try very hard not to just complain about capitalism as a whole being a lot of the root of how, like, they just don't want to trust in new material because they already have dollar figures for the old material, and they know that they have the nostalgia factor, and they don't like branching out, right? So it's like, that's a big reason why they kind of do this. It's like, they're just like, we don't want to... Actually, I guess that is my only spiel on it, and that kind of gets it out of the way. Never mind. I feel like that was maybe a 2.5 on my...
that was too heavy.
usual. Yeah, because they started, like, taking numbers for stuff in, like, the 80s, right? They started really, like, targeting, like, you know, demographic groups and things to like for the mass manufacture of media, and so it was like, once they started getting numbers in and they started having these statistics to rely on, it was like they didn't want to take risks anymore, especially on like new material, which is like another example of that is why it took so long for them to give us a movie like Captain Marvel with a fully female lead, or Black Panther with like a fully black leading cast that was in like a major franchise that was expected to be watched by white people, right?
Why try with the potential to fail when you can just do what you've been doing and make a shit ton of money?
What you've been doing, right? Yeah. And then I think it also, ties into a lot of our nostalgia for, you know, that kind of era, because a lot of that era was less depressing, right? Because we didn't know so much about what was going on in the world.
Because we were kids too, so that helps.
We always like want that shit, and so we're totally gonna just gobble it up when we get it. So they know it's already gonna be a guaranteed sell, even if it's not necessarily good. Okay, sorry. That's it.
I can very specifically trace the loss of my childhood innocence and joy to the 90s Godzilla film.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
man,
Wait,
that was Matthew Broderick?
1999 with the one with Matthew Broderick. It's like 1999, right? Or
I think it was 97.
Oh my god.
okay. Was it the one that had the Taco Bell like tie-in
It sure was.
promotion? Because
God.
I remember that. Yeah, and that movie was so bad. Oh my goodness.
It's real bad. It was 98. I say, having done the research, but
God, 98. Wow, yeah. I can't believe I was like, surely that was 99 or 2000. No, you're right. Yeah, okay. So I was like 8 years old, but I remember it vividly. I remember the Taco Bell dog tie-in advertisements.
Me and my dad, it was always our thing watching like those old Godzilla like giant monster movies together, and I just remember sitting in the theater like, oh man.
They just took that, they just crapped right all over it, and you're like, thanks, wow, like.
Thanks, I hate it. It's my
Sorry, I'm
favorite
putting words
quote.
in your mouth, but like I feel like that's the energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's just, well, like enjoying things is done.
Holy shit.
I can never just enjoy something without having the thought in the back of my head. But maybe someone's gonna make it shitty.
Oh, yeah, nowadays that's really
you
the
can't
default.
go into anything without that fear.
Enjoying things.
I think this is why I'll see people comment where they'll be like, oh, they changed this, it's gonna be terrible. And then there'll be these other group of people that have this gut reaction of like, well, you don't know, maybe it'll be an improvement.
Right?
But it's like, no, here's the thing. If you like something a lot, every change change they make, it's just gonna be worse to you typically.
I mean, sometimes you're surprised because I guess the new Halloween's good. I heard, but it's kind of a sequel, isn't it? It's not. Yeah, it's a sequel.
It's a sequel / reboot because it does like retcon everything after the first one, and that one is on my list of something that I did want to talk about was the Halloween.
So I don't know anything other than I haven't even seen that one.
But what you hit on earlier was correct. It's all about the money now. A lot of people argue it's like, oh, they're out of original ideas now. They just no imagination in Hollywood anymore, and that's not true.
They're out of original ideas is that they don't want to take risks on new and original content because they're so obsessed with numbers now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if they had been obsessed with numbers when the OG Star Wars was pitched, like it wouldn't have. Absolutely, we wouldn't have had it. Like, if it was today and like that sort of content was like, it's like, yeah, here's my story, right? It was not going to happen, and so it was like it had to happen in a completely different market. And yeah, we're just in a totally weird fascist dystopia. We're in a totally weird dystopia now, dude. Like, yeah, it's just all about the dollars, and yeah, so it's like, what can we milk out of it?
More money.
See, when I think of Halloween films, when we talk about reboots, I think the Rob Zombie ones. Boy, those are not good.
Oh, boy,
God,
yeah.
I've never seen them. I need to because like I remember just like reading about them and being like, this sounds like a train wreck on fire wheels, and I need to watch it.
Oh gosh.
I think it was also the sequels to the Friday the 13th.
Okay, let's talk about. We can touch on like past sequels, like the one you just mentioned, Friday the 13th. What was it? Was it 2009? The remake?
Yeah, didn't they bring that one back? Yeah,
it was 2008 or 9. I know it was like right around the time I got out of high school.
I know. Okay,
2006.
I know. I wrote it down. Okay, it's 2009. It was director Marcus Nispel that did it, who also did the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Which I don't remember. I don't remember if I saw it.
I did. It was not great, but
Yeah.
I remember watching.
I would have been too young, I think.
I know I didn't see it because Sam, the actor who plays Sam from Supernatural, is in it, and I did not notice.
Oh my god.
I remember very specifically walking out of the rebooted Friday the 13th feeling like that was it was fine.
Okay,
like,
no, that
Fine.
Like I said, like that was fine, but like not in a positive way. Like
yeah.
it was fine.
Dude, literally, yeah, me at the fucking Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and I had such high hopes because I like what's his face so much.
Oh, you like the actor
Haley.
that was?
Yeah, I like Jackie Earle Haley.
That was
But at the same time, you know, I was really into the Watchmen movie,
that's
and like
exactly what I was gonna say. That was
and like one of my friends recently rewatched it and was just like, "That's not hold up, right?"
No.
And I'm just like, you know what? I believe it, and I don't want to rewatch it just to find out. Zack Snyder's whole career does not hold up at all. Like,
I could go on to a whole side thing here about him, but I won't.
Bad or good?
I'll do it real quick then. So I watched the Justice League movie, and I gained a new respect for Zack Snyder in that people have been giving him so much shit for the slow motion speed up scenes that he keeps doing, and he just keeps fucking doing them.
Oh my god, right? He's just like, I don't give a fuck. No, in the same way that Michael Bay is like, oh, you hate the explosions? So what I'm hearing is you want more explosions.
I don't like it, but I kind of admire that.
But
Like, nope, gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, that audacity, the hubris of it.
It's a stylistic choice, guys. It's my style, okay? No.
It's my style.
Anyway, sorry.
Sorry, that was excellent.
I will hop on any opportunity to talk shit on Zack Snyder. But
hell yeah.
Do we want to move on and just go through this list of all these remakes that are coming out?
That
And
works.
like comment on each of them.
Well, okay, we did already talk about the Halloween one from last October, which I mean, I enjoyed it.
yeah, I liked it.
We did an episode on that. I'll link it in the show notes. Go listen to it.
Or if you want a full review.
Including me.
But like the year before that,
Seen it.
yeah, you will see it first and then listen to the episode.
Oh, fine. Hey, I can do whatever I want.
But the year before that, back in September, we had the first installment of the new It remake.
Oh yeah, I need to see that in like a way that's not shitty. Like we have like a really high television, and we're like literally so old because we're traumatized millennials who haven't like moved on since like I don't know the Xbox 360 era. and that like includes our ability to understand technology for some fucking reason, even though like, and so like we got this like sick ass TV that's like super high def, but we only have like a DVD player because like nobody has yet to invest in a Blu-ray player because we're filthy animals. And like I will buy a PS4 at some point because I guess I have to play Kingdom Hearts 3, right? Because like I've been waiting my entire fucking life for that garbage ass shit, and like fine, I'll buy a PlayStation. It's like hell, I'm getting another Xbox. Like that thing became a Netflix machine 2 years into its existence and remained it forever until I got a Chromecast and a smart TV. So this is like a straight up like sick ass smart TV. Anyway, so we rented the It reboot from, or not, it's not a reboot, right? Because it's the first film.
It's a remake, yeah.
Yeah, it's a remake, but like the first one was like a miniseries, which I always forget. I'm always like, it was just a really long movie on VHS when I was 8. Like, but it's like, no, it's like a TV miniseries, and so like that's why everyone was always like, okay, this is the first hit movie, and I'm like, oh, I get it, finally. So we rented it from Redbox, put it on the DVD player, put it on the TV, the sick ass TV, not realizing that it's like, yeah, bitch, at this point when your TV is this sick, you need a Blu-ray player if you want to be able to like enjoy anything, like at all. And so it was like, it's like, oh, here's your tiny ass picture that's like a 5x5 like square, and
God.
it's so goddamn dark, right? And of course the movie is shot really dark. And so it was so dark that it was literally impossible to see all of the shots that are like supposed to be terrifying, right? I really need to rewatch it. And I feel like I did recently, but like not as in depth as I should have. But yeah, so it was like, that was the day I realized that when your TV is in 2019, like you need a Blu-ray player. Yeah, that was a good movie if all of the good scenes were just black. And in a 5x5 square.
That was also a stylistic choice, actually. That's how the movie is.
Yeah, you saw it the way it was meant to be seen. Like, there was nothing wrong with your TV.
I am like so horny for James McAvoy though that like him being in the sequel is just.
Is he in the sequel?
Yeah.
Yeah, James McAvoy is one of the characters in the sequel, so I'm just like, oh, just fuck me up, fam. Like,
well, sequel meaning in part 2 of the.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sequel, yeah. The part 2 of the same story, yeah. I'm so excited. Sorry, tried to throw that one out there. Throw my thirst.
Okay, so we know it
there.
did really, really well. I think its budget was like $35 million.
Oh, that was incredible. And like
opening weekend, it broke $100 million.
People liked it.
So is that an argument towards like, okay, they can be done well. Remakes can be done well if the money goes into it, or just.
Are we talking a remake or like? Because like in that case, is it a remake? Because like comparing a miniseries to that is harder. Because like one is 6 hours long.
That's true. So the original wasn't made for the screen.
Yeah, it was made to be watched over. Like it was more like Ruby Red, right? Is that a thing? Not Ruby Red. What is the name of that? What was that miniseries? Rose Red.
I don't think I ever saw that.
I had no idea that the original It was apparently a TV series. What?
Yeah, it was a TV miniseries that took place over like a week or so, and so like you watched it every night. That shit was like real hot in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, miniseries were more common.
So it was like Rose Red. This was a Stephen King miniseries that was about people in this mansion, this haunted mansion that they filmed in like Seattle, this like sick ass mansion up here. It was so good. Damn, but I don't remember when it was. I think it was like the early 2000s probably. And anyway, yeah. So the original, it was 6 hours long, and you watched it over the course of a week on cable. So that's what a miniseries. It's like this. In the case of it, it's like that is the first movie adaptation of the book, rather than TV miniseries.
Okay, so then
because the TV series doesn't have the same budget as the film did.
So I suppose then we should probably take it off our list of remakes.
Yeah. Sorry to be super pedantic about it, but like people are, I guess, in the film community, they are. So like that's I'm like, okay, like I guess I get it. I guess I get why you're like really serious about this distinction, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's hard to call it one because it is the very first movie, like film adaptation of the novel.
To me, it kind of comes down to like my thing with like the MCU is I think they've kind of learned we're gonna make all the money in the world anyway. We can afford to like put these franchises in the hands of people who fucking care about them.
Exactly.
That's a big deal.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like why some of the best content has like come out of it too, which I really like. So like there's been some like real good like mainstream nerd content in the last decade.
Because the alternative gets you a Mummy movie with Tom Cruise in it.
Oh.
And
Hey, why would you stab me in the heart and twist it like that? I've been made to watch it twice. It's the worst shit I've ever seen in my goddamn lifetime.
You get Alan paying for a movie theater ticket because you know what? I want to feel hate again.
Oh, God, I love you so much. Yes. No, oh my God. The amount of times I've seen it. And it's just like, the worst part is that it's like, the people in it are hot. I mean, at least she is, right? So I'm like,
oh my God, I love that actress so much.
Yes, I love her so much. Like, Kingsman. Are you kidding me? Yes. Like, both the Kingsman movies are the best movies of all time, almost. Like, sorry. Like, those are, like, really in my top 10. Like,
dude,
come on.
Okay, we will talk about Kingsman later because I fucking love those movies, okay?
Oh, yes.
Me
like,
too.
I get into the fandom, even though I'm not, but, like, just, we need to go deep inside. We need to go deep. Like, that's the point.
I, 30-year-old Alan, just want to sit down with 12-year-old Alan, who's, like, loves Universal monster movies so much, and just, I want to sit down with that Alan and say, hey, give up now.
Oh, no!
There is no joy left to be
you just want to brace yourself so it doesn't hurt as much.
So
well, I mean, okay, we have a little bit of, I mean, if it might be hard, but we could have a little bit of a hope that it does look like Universal's going to try again, but this time instead of trying to create a universe, they're just going to give each monster their own standalone thing.
You know, like what Marvel actually did the first time.
Yeah, but not with the intent of then connecting them all. At least last that I, like, looked it all up, that's what it seemed to be their new plan.
Sorry to bring up the MCU again, but they're like the example of like reboot, remake franchise things that are doing it right. There wasn't an MCU. There wasn't going to be an MCU when Iron Man came out.
Right. Yeah.
When it came to movies like the Tom Cruise Mummy movie and
the Dark Universe.
The
set up.
It was like I've used this comparison before. I might have used it on this show. It's like I walk into a store and someone is trying to upsell me before I've even decided if I'm fucking buying anything.
Yeah, that's the issue. They literally just jumped head first without even seeing, hey, are people actually interested in this? Should maybe we just focus on making a good movie instead of trying to tie it all together? You know, feel like. Ugh.
Anyway, wow, we're all over the place.
Yeah, I think it's just my immediate reaction. It's like Kingdom Hearts. They keep making games and then trying to connect all the games together, and none of it really makes sense anymore. Yep.
I feel like that is
a branch out to like 30 fucking platforms and expected everybody to be able to afford them all. Like, that was pretty fucked up.
I mean, that was my issue with I'm one of the few people who haven't seen all the Marvel movies.
What the fuck else do we expect from Japanese? Like, come on.
But now, so
I'm just like, the Japanese make capitalism a sport. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
so
not in a bad racist way.
Sophia,
Say it. I'm sorry for taking your show all over the goddamn place.
No, it's like this all the time now.
I like that you tacked on that now.
I mean, I don't even have to bring this up on the show. I know it's a meme and everything, but The Wicker Man was a remake. The Wicker Man was a remake of a really very subtle, awesome old horror film. Look what they did to it.
I think that's the biggest issue that horror movies have as well with remakes is what the horror genre is now is not what it was in the 80s. It's a completely different ballpark. It's much more gory, I think it is, than it was in the 80s back before visual effects were such an easy thing to just kind of throw in. I know we're coming up on like Child's Play eventually. Mm-hmm. I just read the synopsis for that and it's like, yeah, none of this happened in the original movie. Mm-hmm. I'm actually kind of bummed. I didn't realize the mom seems like a much bigger hero in the original movie, where in the new one it's like, oh no, she's gonna be tied up and the kids gonna be screaming for her. Like, oh, okay.
We'll definitely get to that because I think the goal with the new movie is that they want the kids to be the ones facing off against Chucky versus adults. But like, I don't know, the comment of like older movies not being as gory, I don't totally agree with because I think my mind immediately goes to like The Evil Dead, where like we had all these beautiful practical effects and like
gore is on a different level now. That I guess is more how I feel it. Like go read, like I said, the synopsis.
It was like
Child's
gore used to be something almost like artistic. Like it was like, especially using the example of Evil Dead, because like all the different things they did to get what they wanted is just creative is the only word I can think to describe it. And now everything's just a lot of CG gore, and it's just gore for gore.
You know what it is? I think it is they talk about how, like, one of the biggest issues certain TV shows have is they'll come onto the scene, and then once they get popular, the censors will or the higher ups will be given the go-ahead of, you don't have to be so limited in your creativity now because we trust you. People are going to watch no matter what you do. So there becomes a struggle with the creativity when you can do anything. Where, like you said, before there had to be like, okay, how can we justify having this scene of this person's heads popping off because we're going to have this makeup artist and then we got to do this, and are we going to be able to make this look realistic enough? Or now it's just, oh yeah, just have a person's head pop off, just do it in post, special effects, whatever, you know?
Deviated into gore, but let's talk about Child's Play.
Yeah, I mean, the gore is related to what I was going to mention about it, too, so.
About Child's Play?
Yeah, so just how it was interesting how they took it up a notch.
I did actually, since we weren't able to record yesterday, I did watch it, the original, last night.
Are you fucking kidding? Yeah, I saw it recently, but, like, I blacked out the whole thing, apparently. other than, like, how completely unbelievable the storyline was, and then how absurd it was of me to have had expected anything else. And so I remember just being like, what kind of realism am I expecting from this?
Oh man, yeah. I was reading the synopsis again, trying to like, and it's like, as soon as it got to, he visits a voodoo instructor, I was like, oh mother.
Oh, that's right, yeah, and it was racist as hell. I forgot about
what the fuck?
I do know that, like, Mancini, like, originally, he didn't want the whole serial killer possessing a doll thing. Like, he wanted it to be...
Yeah, because I was like, that's the
Andy's
dumbest shit. I hated that.
Rage that was making the doll act and come to life.
Oh man, that's a lot more interesting.
That is, like,
yeah,
so much...
But the studios were like, well, we think this would sell more, so do this.
Okay, but, like, wasn't it the 80s and everybody was coked out of their minds with dumb fucking ideas?
Also, probably The Exorcist was kind of recent still, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Oh, yeah, and that started this whole craze with, like, demonic possession or, like, possession and stuff, right? They got, like, real into that sort of, like, storyline material.
I completely agree. That's probably my biggest turn off.
That was the one, like, turn off with the whole thing, and I was like, what are my expectations? It's adult of life. But seriously, no. Like, what you said, that'd be way darker. I like it more. Like, it's way better. Like,
I think it goes
there's
way...
like a psychological angle to it.
Yeah, it goes way back to this discussion we had on another episode of, like, writing good horror. And it's like, once you explain your monster or explain your supernatural element, it loses something. So you start the movie out with, like, yeah, this is all just a serial killer and a doll. It's like, what the frick?
Oh my god, you're so right, though. Yeah, you don't explain it at the very beginning. Like,
that's exactly what the original Child's Play did. Okay, well, actually, really quick, Alan, what do you like the original Child's Play? Or, like, because I think, I mean, I still kind of like it.
I think it has its moments.
Yeah,
it's got charm.
I rewatched it. I rewatched it pretty recently, and I'd say I'd give it a tentative. It still holds up.
Yeah, I think so too.
No, I think so too. Because
compared to a lot of older movies.
Story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know how much you guys know about the remake. I don't know, remake or reboot. What it is
they're
exactly.
kind of the same now. They're kind of one and the same depending on the sort of content we're talking about, huh? Because really, it's like it's a remake that they're testing the waters for a series reboot with, right?
I guess so. Well, here's the premise for the new one. It's not going to be a possessed doll. Essentially, Chucky is a super smart doll with AI, and what happens is he's the one that Andy gets, the boy.
Does he get like a virus or some shit?
No, okay. There's a Chinese factory worker who
oh god.
No!
Tampers with the doll and removes the limitations on the doll's AI to like learn things and be violent.
No!
Is this the plot of Small Soldiers?
Yeah!
Oh my god!
That's exactly what I was gonna say. What the fuck?
Soldiers, because it sounds familiar, but like
it's that one where like you had the different toys, like you had the anthropomorphic like good guy toys and then like the G.I. Joe evil ones, and they would like fight each other, and I think it was like a family that like got him.
I feel like I saw this in such a big memory that it's in a Pandora's box deep.
Yeah.
I think that's actually kind of worse because now you're adding a race thing to it that wasn't there before. What?
I was literally hell.
Overworked Chinese factory worker who also then commits suicide after tampering with it.
Oh my god! So we're going extra racist with this.
Hardcore. But at the same time, but at the same time, like, isn't it not like a commentary on the times? Like,
But it is
racist.
It's still just like playing into that stereotypes of evil China and also Asian people committing suicide. It's like
okay, I see in the ways. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Those are two sincerely negative tropes. I wasn't like separating them out. You're correct.
To me, it's like just don't explain it. You don't have to explain it right off the bat. Just
you really don't.
Well, like, I don't know how they'll depict that in the movie, because it definitely that wasn't in the trailer or anything. It's just details that have been released about the movie. And I think that's also going to be focusing more on how Ravel said in the original, it was kind of like the mom figuring things out and going after Chucky to, like, protect her son, Andy. Where in this one, the focus is going to be on Andy and, I guess, his friends trying to stop Chucky. Because it did so well with that, and like Stranger Things.
This one, Child's Play is capitalize on the Stephen King thing, because Stephen King's the one who like basically kind of like not invented, but like made that horror sort of dynamic so successful with the group of like adolescent boys, because like you get it in Stand By Me or the short story that it's based on, The Body.
Yeah, but are they going to have an orgy at the end of it?
Oh boy.
Oh God. Remind me.
I will never forgive Stephen King for that. Never, ever.
No, I won't forgive Stephen King for a lot of things, because he's real bad at like being shitty and sexist in a lot of ways.
Oh God.
He's really bad at writing women. His women are just like, we think about cock 24/7. It's like, that's exactly how women are.
That explains it. That's why. Like, I gotta admit though, while not a fan of the original idea of serial killer possession, there is actually a part of me that prefers it over rampant AI. I don't know. AI is a lame bad guy to me, typically.
Is it? Like, but I feel like it's really relevant these days.
Well, I know that's why they went for it, because it's much more scary to think of, but robots just aren't scary to me. They just aren't.
Oh, no, they're not. In the same way that I think zombies are stupid garbage. Like, give me something that I actually should be afraid of running away from. Like, are you kidding me? Oh, this thing that like is gonna eventually rot on its own, and like its own head's gonna fall off, and I don't have to worry about it. Cool. Yeah, that's freaky.
Yeah.
My favorite depiction of the fear of zombies is the fear of ourselves. Like the concept that like without higher,
we don't have free will,
and the idea that that's just us. I mean,
and that we're just
meat.
That's a good point. Yeah, when you look at it that way. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, because to be fair, like when I was growing up and I was a real little kid, I used to try to think about what would scare me the most, right? I thought about that all the time. I was like, what's the scariest thing to me? Because I had recently read Harry Potter and the concept of a boggart had come up, and I was like, well, what is the scariest thing to me? I don't know. A dead body. That was it. And I think on some sort of like animalistic existential level, dead bodies are just like real scary to like living people, unless they've like seen them a lot, and kind of numb themselves to the experience after a point.
I think for me, like too, just kind of going back to that for a second, is in the original movie, they're struggling to kill him because of the fact that the way he possesses the doll, it's like, what are you going to do to a doll? But he's starting to take on life, I guess, because that's how the lore works.
He's turning human. And they have to.
Because the voodoo magic, because the racist ass voodoo magic shit.
But the thing is, okay, if it's just AI, then there's nothing preventing you from just taking a hammer and smashing that thing to pieces. You know what I mean? There's once that doll is gone, it's gone. Like,
well, I know there's like a lot of speculation of like, if it's AI, can it like transfer to the other dolls or whatnot?
Or it'll know how to alter the other dolls.
They'll probably address it. They probably just don't want to they don't want to spoil it early, because it sounds like that's too obvious, like a solution, So I'm sure that there's some way that they.
Do we know much about the TV series? Because I'm calling it now. Like, is it just okay? Is it going to be?
Well, no. Here's the thing about the TV series, because like how it turned out. MGM owns the rights to the first movie, and they're the ones doing this remake thing going on. Don Mancini is actually working with Universal and is continuing the, like, I guess, straight to home, straight to Netflix movies with the original Chucky.
Oh, no.
And that's what the TV series is going to be. Don Mancini's doing that.
So this is like it's like a creative differences licensing.
Well, because like Universal owns all of the sequels. So Don Mancini was pretty much like, I'm going to do a Child's Play TV series. And then MGM comes along and is like, hey, cool, we own the rights to the first one, so we're going to reboot it while you're still trying to use the franchise.
Jesus Christ, why? Why? That is not necessary. It should have been.
Hey,
ended.
so like capitalism though.
Yeah.
Like guys, like I know I'm a broken record, but like guys, yeah.
Why not? It'll make money. I mean, here's the thing, like we talk about with horror movies, they typically are very low budget, especially nowadays, because like we were saying, you'll have a budget of a couple million, and you know you're going to make that back easy, you know?
Even like big flops, like fucking Ouija or whatever, that's the first one I made. They made back
I don't know, but like at the same time, I'm just like, I will never constantly consume garbage horror. Sorry.
I will never stop saying it. The Bye Bye Man made its money back. And then some.
What was that?
Then some.
Yeah.
See, I told you guys, we need to just make a horror film and just make it as cheap as possible, Blair Witch style.
No, I was literally right about to say Blair Witch style. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we live in the
like didn't
Northwest,
like Paranormal
so,
Activity have like
okay, but you guys, we would go try to film our own fucking horror movie in the fucking Pacific Northwestern wilderness, and then we would end up in our own fucked up horror movie scenario where we'd get fucking lost and we'd have to fucking eat each other out in the goddamn wilderness. Right, and they wouldn't find our bodies for years.
I don't know about you guys.
Made about us.
I don't know about you guys. I start eating people at like hour 5.
Well, there's no point in looking at that point. Yeah, yep. So, like, for real though, we should make a movie about the Highwayman. Isn't there a Highwayman? Something like that on the Oregon coast. There you go.
The one that we talked about fucking forever ago.
The Bandage Man.
Bandage Man, that's what it was.
Oh, fuck that. Yeah.
Hang on, let's go do a movie about the Bandage Man guy.
Wasn't that a murderous hitchhiker? I don't remember the Bandage Man story.
Something like that.
Isn't that just a Pacific Northwest thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, can we talk about Guillermo del Toro's scary stories to tell in the dark that I'm wet for every fucking hour of every goddamn day, and I want it today?
Not today.
Damn it. Okay, but like one day.
We could probably talk about it after we get through this episode, but let's get through this episode.
Trying to be a good citizen.
Alan and I are going to see that together. Woo!
Yeah.
Wait, what? You're coming to our town?
No, I'm going down. Okay, anyway.
Are you going to Kansas City?
No! I'm going to California! Damn it, shut up! Let's talk about Pet Cemetery!
No! Oh, God, this one pisses me off, legitimately.
Because this one's coming out next month. Well,
Is it?
Because when this episode goes out, it's going to be March. So yeah, April. Comes out in April.
So the one thing is, you don't notice it until you watch, like, there's an extended trailer. And Sade pointed out, and then I saw that trailer by sheer accident. So, original movie, going to touch on this, I think we talked about it in our chat room. The original movie has one of the scenes that has stuck with me. I don't remember much of the movie, but I remember the scene of the toddler getting separated from his parents and getting hit by a truck. And
oh, yeah, by a semi.
Yep, and it's
like the 18
and to me, the way that whole scene was constructed, I think he was chasing a balloon or something.
A kite.
Yeah, a kite.
It really fucks you up hard.
It is. It is done.
That was one of the,
and it's such, because it's realistic horror. I
straight up, like, not even until you mentioned it, because it was like I grew up. The first time I ever tried to watch Pet Cemetery, I was 10 years old.
Me too.
And when the cat came back to life, right, and was like at the foot of the bed, and I saw the dude's feet, right, which is why I'm like, cool, so we're just gonna like cover those like 30 times in this trailer, because fuck me, right? Fuck me, fam. Like, when I was 10 years old, I broke down and I had to stop right there. I pussied out there. Sorry, that was super bad slur. Like, can you bleep that? Because like, I'm ashamed I said that. Anyway. But, yeah, I just like I weenied out at that moment, and then I watched it right like way later, and like when you mentioned that, like my brain blacked that one out because it was so bad. And
that's like what makes it good, is how absolutely horrendous it is.
How real, right?
So what do they apparently hint at in the second trailer? One, the toddler doesn't die, the girl does. Second, it's Zombie Cat's fault and not just parental neglect.
Well, we're just assuming that based off the trailer, and I'm learning more and more that I can't
trust trailers.
Yeah.
Something that Brett mentioned.
To me, it's super obvious that the girl dies, but that's the thing though. As it is right now, even if you tilt your head to the side, there's no way you can make the claim that, oh no, the toddler still dies by the semi. It's clearly her who comes back to life. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I mean, we don't see
but it might happen the same way.
You're probably on the ground like a corpse.
It might narratively just be a different reason that they choose the different character or something.
And it's not the same because, like I was just saying to Sade, she was old enough. She's old enough to
What?
fucking know better.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's the same as a toddler running loose, you know?
Well, I guess we'll see. Well, so something that Brett mentioned, like, way early, like a long time ago that has always stuck with me, because when she discovered it, it stuck with her, was that the people who, like, are in charge of the promotional material, including trailers, for, like, all this shit, usually are in no way associated with the film itself.
Absolutely.
So they have no idea what the plot is. They're literally just supposed to, like, splice together, like, what looks sort of like a storyline.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, you know, sometimes you get people who know the plot so they can make a good trailer. And sometimes you get
And
people who
what their
don't.
goal is to sell it to as many people as they can.
Exactly, right?
Like, one really good example, if you go back and, what the fuck is it? The one from M. Night Shyamalan, The Village.
oh my god.
If you look at the
Village.
trailer, it looks like a creature feature. Like you're expecting to see a movie about a monster, and it's not. It's like
That's one of those
romance.
ones that, that's one of those ones that was, like, a complete, like, mindfuck from what the actual trailer showed, yeah.
Exactly. So don't trust trailers.
Well, yeah, and, like, yeah, because they're done by a whole lot different, like, PR team, right?
But then sometimes trailers are 100% the movie. And you're like,
Yeah.
Sometimes they just reveal way too much. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have seen like the original trailer for Die Hard.
I've
I
never
haven't.
even seen
No.
Die Hard.
I've seen Die
Same.
Hard, but not the trailer.
Take some time after this to watch it. The original trailer for Die Hard. It is not the same movie. It looks kind of like they're trying to advertise
A literal Christmas romance film?
kind of a comedy.
Kind of a
Oh,
comedy?
boy.
Okay, yeah. Holy shit, no, because one of the things that Brett mentioned was, like, the producers, when the Producers movie came out, they had hyped up Will Ferrell's role in it, like, super hard, even though he was only the one. Yeah, he was such a minor character in it. And they also completely neglected to mention that it was a musical, which is something they do all the time with musical films, is that they'll completely neglect to mention that they're musicals on purpose.
That's so true, because when Sweeney Todd came out,
Oh,
I
that was
let my
bad
cousin
one.
Marco see
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
And he,
Marcos,
the
yeah.
second, yeah, you remember.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, go see this movie with me. And he's like, okay. And then as soon as someone started singing, he just looked over at me and was like, God fucking damn it, Jess.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
because that was one of those ones where they totally didn't tell you it was music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and yeah, so you just thought it was like a Tim Burton horror movie with, like, fucking J. Depp. Unless you were already familiar with.
So I did recently watch Pet Sematary, and yeah, I think the scene where the toddler dies because it's just like parent negligence is really, it's hard to take.
I don't know.
But also,
wait,
like,
how is
the
parent negligence? I don't remember. Well,
like, they're
I mean,
distracted and they're just not paying attention.
yeah, what was she doing? I don't remember.
It was like they were celebrating a little birthday, and they
Oh,
let
wasn't
the
it-
kite go.
Wasn't it like the daughters? It was the daughter's birthday, and they were taking a picture with them, wasn't it? And then, yeah, okay, yeah.
They just weren't paying attention, and they let
Well,
the kite go, and the kite started to go off, and the kid followed it.
Well, and I don't, look, I'm going to argue it only because I know a lot of moms now who are very insistent about this. 2-year-olds are fucking crazy, and they will disappear on you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll go completely dead silent when you have no idea. And so, like, it's like they've always told me that they grew up being like, oh my god, like, how shitty of a parent do you have to be to, like, neglect your kid to, like, let this happen, right? And they're like, but then when I had a kid, the moment that the kid learned to walk, anytime I turned my back, the kid was gone. It was like, what the, and silent, right, as a mouse, just silent and gone. And you're like, where the fuck did it go?
Yeah, that's why it's so realistic, because like I don't feel
Well,
any,
that's
like,
why
it's
I'm
not
just, like,
maliciousness towards the parents in
so
that
I'm just
scene.
thinking that's why it's like, but I also feel like that is, I bet that scene is like so much scarier too for people who are parents, right?
Who
Like,
are actually
I'm
parents,
just like,
yeah.
can you imagine, like, just watch it, like, how much more real that is? Like, when you're just like, I've had a kid who just literally wandered away the moment they figured out they could walk. Like, they were just out of my sight the moment they could walk.
Since you've seen it recently too, Jess, can you confirm the cat isn't really nearly an antagonist, is it? It's just kind of there.
No, it
It's
was
just kind
like
of there.
it's just kind of there. It comes back. It kind of jump scares you a couple times.
It fulfills a role, I feel like, as like a bad omen. Like, that's
Yeah.
the role.
Mm-hmm.
But in this new one, they're definitely, like you said,
I
now
don't know,
don't
I
trust
feel
the
like
trailers.
I don't
I
think
felt like
that
in the
we see
trailer
enough.
they were still giving us the vibe that it was just like, oh, here's your bad omen cat. And I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, and the cat doesn't even look nearly as wrecked up as it was in the OG, which is what messed me up. I'm like, cool, even the animal death isn't that bad to look at. because you made the cat relatively normal. It's just got like it just looks a little high. Like I'm like cool.
He looks more. To me, he looks more like he's like more in it. But then again, like I said, it's been a while, and you can't trust trailers.
Well, and
We'll have to
I
see.
feel like that might be deliberate on the trailer's part because they're trying to give you the spooky bad energy of the weird omen cat, right?
Yeah. How do we feel about the creepy weird kids? I'm curious how that's going to be explained.
That is some weird shit. And I'm like, okay, so that's new, right? But at the same time, like, I'm intrigued because it's got to be like, I'm hoping it's some plot point that is a deviation from this was Indian burial ground crazy
Same.
shit. Kind of like,
We'll
racist.
see. We'll definitely find out. And
So I'm just like, fingers
if
crossed
everyone is
that that's
up for
different
going
because,
to see it, we can do a review episode for it.
I mean, yeah, like if I save my money.
Hey, so The Grudge
No.
Yeah!
is being remade, and that's estimated for early 2020, I think. And here's the thing that I read about it, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it.
God.
So I think it's the writer, Jeff Bueller?
Bueller?
Yeah, Jeff Bueller. Who
Bueller.
is actually also, I believe he is one of the writers from the Pet Sematary remake. But, so I think he or the director put out the idea that for this remake, they were fascinated by the notion of, because like the whole premise from The Grudge is that someone died with this anger that was just so venomous and just that they left a stain.
They were killed in a terrible passion, as the Master
Yeah.
Boys would say about a ghost. And like,
Yes.
you have ghost cashews? Were they killed in a terrible passion? Yeah. Ghosts. They're killed in a terrible passion.
Okay, so that notion of just like killed in that horrible, and that's what leaves this stain that then turns into a curse or whatnot.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, that could happen anywhere. So I guess this Grudge remake is being set. It's not going to be like,
gross,
something
isn't it
happened
America?
It's in America,
Absolutely
yeah.
fuck off.
It's here?
Fuck off. No, that pisses me off so much.
Well, I thought we already did do a Grudge. That was
Well, no, it was in Japan, but it starred Sarah Michelle Gellar. I was going to ask.
Well, okay, see, here's the thing. With that original Grudge, it's like, okay, white girl goes to Japan and, like, does whatever, and then the Grudge follows her. I don't fucking remember anymore how it went.
So, like, getting back to what you were saying, to, like, okay, is it going to be an Asian lady in America this time?
I think it's just going to be something horrible happened in America, and it's all set in America.
Fuck off, then. Fuck off.
Yeah, but like
fuck
that's the
off.
Ring remake too, isn't it? It's like an American.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Because
Yeah.
the remake of the Ring, it takes place in America, and I feel like it's not that bad. I mean, like, I feel like I understand it in that they're trying to target the audience more. Like,
No, stop it. I don't like it.
Okay,
I
so
don't
just
like
complete
it.
no.
okay, but at the same time, if you ever try to watch a Japanese horror film, okay, fuck that. Like, there is no Japanese goddamn horror film that doesn't stop halfway through the movie, turn into a completely different movie halfway through the film, and then take you through a whole different fucking roller coaster, and you're just like, damn, bitch, where did I start? I don't know what I'm watching anymore.
I have issues with
What is
something.
that?
I have issues with something that is so utterly Asian cultural. These particular ghosts, they are so Asian culture, in my opinion. And then they just say, let's throw that out. We throw out all the Asianness of it and make it white. Like, I can't do it. Just like, no. It's my same
They're actually
argument.
going to look, but no, I mean, I understand where you're coming from,
Okay.
because, yeah, it's very specifically.
On the other side of that coin, I would give any amount of money to see what an American remake of Houseu would look like.
Of what?
Houseu?
What's that?
Oh my god, I don't think I've seen it.
What is that?
Oh my god,
Maybe I
everyone
have.
go watch Houseu.
Is it a
Okay.
Japanese
If you've
horror
ever-
movie?
If you've ever seen the gif of the girl playing the piano and the piano eating her,
What?
that's
Fucking
Houseu.
never.
Awesome.
But, like, I feel like I need to watch this, but I also, I've got a person in the house
It's
that
got a
doesn't like-
90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hey, cool, is it gonna fuck up my life? Because, like, I'm down
This
to get
is-
fucked up.
It's fucking wonderful.
Excellent.
See, I guess to me too, we already have I think we have our own revenge ghost ideas in America. Why just not make a ghost story about a revenge ghost?
Because we've already got those.
So what?
Okay, well maybe I think that's what they're doing, but they just want the name The Grudge.
That's stupid. That
I
would-
mean,
for marketing
I
purposes.
only
I think it's just
briefly
capitalist being
read
garbage,
about
yeah.
this. I could be entirely wrong. We'll find out. Boop.
I hope so.
Anyway, moving on.
Hey,
now that Ray is angry, time to move on.
On the subject of reboots and remakes,
Mm.
yeah, I will reiterate. I would pay any amount of money to see what the fuck a North American studio would do to the film House.
I'm gonna tack on though that I think the thing that gets me about like why I am so passionate about the Asian thing is I've seen so many Asian creators at this point just talk about, man, it sure would be nice if we had more opportunities in Hollywood. So I think that's why it's this touchy subject for me.
Mm.
It became a thing for me that on Valentine's Day I watched really fucked up Japanese movies, and that's how I discovered House.
That's
Oh my god,
a great one. That's wonderful.
that's a great way to spend that day.
It started. I briefly dated this girl who told me like I'm into really messed up movies. I'm into really like twisted movies. And I was like,
Did she make you watch Itchy the Killer?
No. I was already into really fucked up movies.
Okay.
So the movie I brought to watch with her was Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Oh boy.
Which, if you don't know about Tetsuo the Iron Man, a man is metamorphosizing into a metal man, and at one point his penis turns into a giant drill, and his girlfriend kills herself by impaling herself on the penis drill. And I showed her that movie, and she was like, "That was really fucked up." And I was like, "Yeah, you said you liked twisted movies." She was like, "No, that was really fucked up." And I was like, "What do you think is a twisted movie?" And she was like, "The Butterfly Effect."
Oh my god.
Like,
Oh my god.
I was like, this isn't gonna work out.
was this a girl?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty. I'm never gonna assume if I say twisted movie, you gotta be really careful about that.
Did you guys ever see Candyman?
Yeah.
I only saw it once when I was really young, so I don't remember much about it at all. But we are getting a Candyman remake. I think 2020. Okay, but here's the thing. So Jordan Peele is producing. He's
All right.
He's not directing, but he did pick a director for it. I don't know her name.
But she's a woman, that automatically tells you that it's going to come from at least a mildly interestingly different perspective.
I also know that, and this was recently announced, that the actor who played Black Manta in the recent Aquaman movie is going to play Candyman. I don't know. I don't know enough about the original to know if I should be concerned or not.
It's Jordan Peele. I said boo when you said Candyman remake, but then you were like Jordan Peele, and I was like, oh, okay.
So there's a hope. I'm really
You're good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
I'm kind of jazzed as fuck for the new Twilight Zone. So
yes.
Fuck
Yes.
me up.
I want it to be good.
So excited.
I want
I'm
it to
so
be good.
excited. Like, I don't deserve how many good things are, like, coming out of horror. Because that's the thing, is that it's like, the whole horror genre, like, really thrives in times of, like, economic and, like, just existential societal horror, right? Like just trauma. So it's like, because we're all collectively traumatized by a certain degree of, like, what's going on around us in the world. Like, regardless of where you are on the political spectrum, like, things are pretty fucking intense right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in that way, it's like you get more escapist, but you also get more, like, vengeful, I feel like. And not even in, like, necessarily a bad way. But, like, this escapist tendency really, you know, the tenser socio-political eras kind of lead very much creatively a lot to the horror genre as an exploration of, you know, kind of what we're dealing with as a society as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fascinating, you know, in the way that sci-fi does as well, but does it differently, which is why one of my big favorite genres more recently has been the sci-fi horror.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you can blend that shit together, just fuck me right up. Like,
Sci-fi horror has definitely always been one of my favorite genre, maybe even more so than the horror genre itself.
yeah.
But, like, I do feel like sci-fi gets even worse treatment than the horror genre.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I would feel like depending, like, if you do
Well,
on
like,
a
if
scale
we're-
of, like, in the certain categories of, like, what it's being judged on, like, they even out, but they're being judged for different reasons in different areas, right?
Well, I feel like Hollywood will give an original sci-fi idea way less of a chance than it will, like, an original horror idea.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause
absolutely.
like you said, you're gonna make that horror movie.
Well, no,
Like,
and
they
that's-
did that exactly to Annihilation.
Gosh, I'm yelling.
That was a great movie, and they just, like, there was no marketing support behind it. They didn't, like, do a full release, I think. Anyway, Little Shop of Horrors
What?
is gonna...
No. What?
Yes. Yep.
And
I've
know
only...
this. Do you realize that I live, eat, and breathe this musical? Do you have any idea? Like, this, my life? Like, is it going to be a musical? It's got to be.
I believe it's going to be based off of the 1986 musical version. So I think the remake will be a musical. I actually have only seen the old black and white one. So aside from it being a thing, I don't have any details on it. But I'm glad you're excited.
I'm
sorry,
excited enough to pee myself, but I don't have to. So it's like, that's
why you took care of that already.
Yeah.
What were we discussing being remade? I'm sorry.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
Allie, do you know anything about the Nosferatu remake?
Hey, what? Is that allowed? Is that allowed? I feel like there's some, like, untouchable kind of, like
Well, I know...
mark sort of horror things. And that, I feel like that's one of those. Why would you touch
The last time I checked on it, it was either someone, it had been put on a back burner, or it was in post-production, but, like, there are photos out there of Doug Jones as Count Orlok.
Hey, just kidding. Doug Jones, never mind. I'll give it a chance.
I do like Doug Jones.
I love Doug Jones.
What I'll say about, like, a Nosferatu remake is there's no real such thing as a Nosferatu remake. To make a Nosferatu remake is just to make another Dracula, but make Dracula look all fucked up.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Because the thing is that the significance of Nosferatu, you're right, is really just, like, the cinema significance of, like, the cinematography at the time and the, like, technology of what we had available, and not so much the content of the film itself.
Twilight
the content of the film
Nosferatu.
itself was Dracula.
It's just Dracula. Exactly.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, you know what's sick? Is the fucking Francis Ford Coppola Dracula. Shout out to that one. Shout out to Keanu. That one's a good one. It seems like garbage, but it's so good if you, like, actually, like, give a shit about Dracula. Anyway, just gonna throw that out there as far as Dracula goes. Gary Oldman can get it any day.
I do like Gary Oldman Dracula. I don't so much like Keanu Reeves.
Hey, go to hell because he's so
Speaking
perfect.
as someone who loves him, speaking as someone who loves him some Keanu, boy was he miscast in that film.
Oh, no, absolutely. But the thing is that the reason I love it so much is that, like, his super awkward, bad casting in that is, like, kind of, like, what makes it so charming as Jonathan Harker, but, like, at the same time, like, kind of gives you, like, the right energy for, like, what that kind of dweeb kind of character would be like. But at the same time, I totally see where you're coming from. It's like, but because it's like, if you want to be able to take the rest of the film seriously, Keanu cannot be there.
I saw that movie young enough that I shouldn't have been cynical about it. But the moment he started
you walked
talking,
out of that theater a jaded child.
the moment he started talking, my brain just went, Ted shouldn't be in this movie.
Be excellent to each other, and especially Dracula. Except he wouldn't say it Dracula, it would be like Dracula.
Okay. You guys want to hear the next one on my list?
Sure.
The Reanimator.
What's that?
Except it's not going to be, they're going to call it Reanimator Evolution.
Never heard of it.
What's the movie?
That sounds like it belongs in 2001.
What's the movie going to be rated?
I have no idea. I know it's going to be directed by Serge Levin. Levin?
We know that person from anything else?
I don't know. I have to confess that I've actually never seen the original from 1985.
I have no
Never
idea
even
what this is.
heard of it.
You need to know anything about it. Cunnilingus is performed with a reanimated severed head in that film. That's why I asked what the remake was going to be rated.
What? The absolute
I think-
fuck.
I do know that with the remake for Reanimator, they were talking about how they wanted it darker and whatnot, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what to expect.
comedy.
I do promise I will watch the original before that comes out. Okay. This one I don't think needs a remake. American Werewolf in London.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
no.
wish I'd seen the original, but
Especially considering who's going to be remaking it.
Yep. Okay, so the original is from John Landis. And his son is gonna not only write the screenplay for the remake, but direct it himself.
Hey, Dad, you like my script?
Wait, why is that bad?
Because his son is terrible.
Oh, do we know his son being terrible from another place? And I'm just not.
Yeah, Bright, Channel Zero.
Wait, he did Bright?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one we can all get together and cry about when we get closer to that.
Love
it.
And there are,
okay.
man, we haven't even touched the Disney one, like, movies. There sure are a lot of remakes going on.
I think Disney will get its own episode, and we'll just throw that one on the Patreon. I'm sure that's one we could have more friends in on too.
I would love to rant about that for like an hour.
So this one's already got a history of like remakes. The Fly. Uh-oh.
Do I get my boy back? My son? My child?
Probably not.
I mean, obviously,
Probably not.
Yeah, that was me shitting. But, like, it'd be hilarious.
So I never saw the Vincent Price one from 1958.
Oh, wait.
Obviously, I
didn't
think
realize that was a Vincent. My boy son. My son boy. Everyone's
your
my
other
boy
son. Yep. I think when everyone hears The Fly, we always think of the one with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Nope, I think the Vincent Price one, but I'm pretty obsessed with Vincent Price.
Okay. That's good. That makes me
But you're what?
hear.
I'm pretty obsessed with Vincent Price.
Okay, that's completely fair, because, like, yeah, relatable. Not on the Vincent Price angle, but, like...
One of the other terrible remakes on my list was House of Wax. Which was...
wasn't that a Rob Zombie remake?
No, but it was still really bad.
I remember... Was it Paris
originally
Hilton in it?
Yes, and her death scene was a parody of her sex tape.
Can I just mention for the record that was probably her idea? And the thing with Paris Hilton, like, I just want this on fucking record, is that Paris Hilton is a savage, super intelligent woman who obviously is not the person that she pretends to be. Like, right? Like, so her whole, like, weird persona is not her. And the thing is that it's like when you, like occasionally she breaks character and you, like she'll tell you, like deets where you, like, get the deep lore on fucking Paris and you, like, realize that she's like a dark chick, right? And because, like, one of the examples is, like, in Repo, like, her role in Repo. She wrote that role basically for herself, and she was like, oh yeah, no, like, I want the fact that, like, her face is melting off constantly to be a parody of me. And so I'm kind of like, I wonder if she had a hand in that too.
Yeah, it's a real bad movie though.
Oh no, it's fucking terrible. I remember hearing that.
About halfway through the film, we get the reveal that the main villain's name is Vincent, and I wanted to die.
Oh no.
That was how they decided to plug him. They were like, this is how we're going to him. Wasn't he the OG House on Haunted Hill too?
I always get House on Haunted Hill mixed up with
The Haunting of Hill House.
So,
which are two separate, completely separate things.
No, I always get it mixed up with the Haunting.
Yeah. Me too. That's what I was just doing. I was getting convinced us.
Because The Haunting is supposed to be, if I remember rightly, it's supposed to be a retelling of The Haunting of Hill House, but, like, is a really fucked up, terrible, bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so House on Haunted Hill, which also had, like, a really ridiculous remake that had Chris Kattan in it, remember?
House on Haunted Hill was the one they did a riff tracks of. Yes, that's Vincent Price.
Yeah, that's Vincent Price.
Yes, okay, 1999, yeah. Because it's one of the other actors who cracked out Gregory something. Fucking Jeffrey Rush plays Stephen Price in it, who is just supposed to be Vincent Price. Like,
God damn it! Stop naming your characters after Vincent Price in remakes of movies he was in.
Yeah, in remakes of his movies, yeah. Yeah, so this character was like...
It's not cute.
Like,
it's not clever.
It's not clever. So his name was Stephen Price, but it's like when you see him, obviously, he's modeled off of Vincent. It's like, you're like, cute. Yeah, nice try. Like,
who wants to see a remake of The Blob?
No one wants to see a remake of that I was trying not to name drop this entire time, but y'all were like, The Fly, The Blob. The Stuff. Is anyone familiar with The Stuff?
Yeah, The Stuff is one of my favorite films.
Yeah, thank you. It's one of my mom's favorite movies, and she introduced it to me, like, finally when I was, like, cognizant enough to really, truly appreciate the parody of the greatness of how fucked up and terrible that movie is, and how amazing it is. The stuff is amazing. Can we never remake it because it's genius and perfect?
If you don't want it remade, you're gonna have to, like, buy the rights to it.
I know, for real. I'm being the only communist who's just, like, sitting on property rights.
When I was last at Midsummer Scream, the horror convention in LA, I saw a The Stuff shirt and went up to the booth and was like, "Money, have money."
Yeah, you're literally like, "Shut up and take my fucking money." You're like, immediately, "Thank you, holy shit." Yeah, I know, this stuff is so goddamn good. Because again, you know, me, the hardcore lefty over here, just like criticisms of capitalism. I'm there for it. Like. I'm just like, yes, we found this totally alien substance that, like, it just tasted delicious. We're gonna fucking, like, mass produce it, sell it to everybody. Their heads are gonna explode. Sick. Let's do it.
Oh my god.
I love it. It's perfect. It's such a good movie, you guys.
Me and a friend have been in secret writing a horror film where it's like a mockumentary about these two guys in modern times who've been, like, raised as, like, the next generation of monster hunters.
Oh, shit.
And I really just wanted to buy, I've been trying to find a good replica container of the stuff just to have in a scene for one of the characters to be eating from in just during the film.
God. Yes, as like an homage, like as a throwback. Oh, beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that you know what I'm talking about and I'm not alone. Perfect.
Well, then we'll all, like, hope and pray that one doesn't get a remake, but if,
I was initially going to say I wanted to have one, but then at the same time, and as I was about to say that, I was like, please no, actually, because I feel like it would not be handled well at all.
Well, do you think there are movies out there that would benefit from a remake? Because, like, it's not my favorite film. Pumpkinhead is getting a remake, and I'm kind of curious to see what they would do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is interesting. That is interesting. Remaking a movie that, like, wasn't even that great to begin with.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I feel like in that case,
like remaking Leprechaun.
No.
Is that one? I think it's called Leprechaun Return or whatever. I think it's already out. I don't know if it's a remake.
I'm sorry, did they already?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm behind.
Well, I know I saw a trailer for something. I don't know if it was a remake or another movie in the line.
I'm like, I just want you to know that, like, I'm not that big of a horror buff yet. Like, I'm kind of like a weenie buff, and the only reason I'm a weenie buff because I was mostly, you know me, I was mostly the creepy serial killer girl.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I am super weenie.
Wait,
I don't know. I consider myself a pretty strong realist, and I'm not a fan of horror movies. But
okay,
I do
then,
like,
yeah, right there you go.
Yeah, but I do like true crime, so
we got a nice batch of interesting people here, I guess. So.
Right? No, I love it, though. I love it because there is, like, such a rich culture that surrounds kind of like geekery of being into the horror genre, right? Or, like, going to, like, horror conventions, like, versus, like, sci-fi people or, like, fantasy people. You know, and there's overlap in that Venn diagram, but I feel like there's a very specific culture behind horror.
I was just kind of born into horror.
Cool, because, like, you know some deep lore shit.
Well, Alan really was born into horror.
Wait, what?
I'm a Chaney. I'm related to Lon Chaney and Lon Chaney Jr. So.
I'm sorry, you're related to who?
Lon Chaney and Lon Chaney Jr. Lon Chaney was the original Universal Phantom of the Opera, known as the Man of a Thousand Faces.
Holy shit.
Kind of credited with creating the horror genre.
That is super awesome.
First name Lon, and his son Lon Chaney Jr. was he was like the Wolfman.
Yeah, that is pretty born.
I'm sorry. What the fuck? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, this is some bullshit that just happened to me again right now. You guys, y'all, Yesenia.
Don't you dare call me
You don't
by
get
that
to
name.
diss me. You don't get to, like, let me be in. I'm sorry, I love you to death. I apologize for doing that to you. I did it because of the significant level of offense that I'm feeling right now, and that is my level of offense that is, you let me be a rambling, nonsense drunk in front of horror royalty, okay? For like 2.5 goddamn hours, and I cannot believe you. And this has only ever happened one other time in my life, and it was when my drunk ass rambled the ear off of a beautiful man at a comic book convention at 2 a.m. in a bar, and I was talking to him about the intricacies of the hilarity of duck penises. And then 2 hours later, I find out that he is a writer and illustrator for Marvel and wrote and illustrated some of my favorite comics. I didn't know that until 3 hours into my fucking embarrassing the shit out of myself. And so that is why I had to use your full ridiculous name on you, because I cannot believe that in the presence of a person this cool, you would let me be this embarrassing.
Duck penises are pretty hilarious, though.
Okay, go, for real, right?
Alan, you mentioned you had a few titles that you wanted to touch on.
Oh yeah, I think I've brought up most of them by now.
Okay.
Did I talk about The Wicker Man?
Yeah.
I literally only just watched the OG of that, I feel like.
Yeah, no, it's a really subtle, really amazing film, considered by many to be one of the greatest British films made of all time.
Or no, I didn't. Sorry, I wanted to. That was on a list. I'm a
Now you're
stupid.
lying to royalty.
Now I'm lying to royalty.
Christopher Lee was in it. Sorry, as much of a Universal Studios purist as I've been, Christopher Lee is the best Dracula.
I can't argue with that. I haven't, I've seen clips, but I haven't watched.
Yeah, the Hammer Horror Dracula movies, worth a watch anytime. But yeah, The Wicker Man. Everyone knows the remake more than the original these days because it's a meme.
That's that's why I was like, I feel like I watched it recently because I was observing the meme shit. But yeah, no.
But the thing people don't take away from the meme is, God damn it, the original movie's so good and no one talks about it anymore.
Anyway,
so
okay,
I was going to bring up kind of more at the topic at hand. The only things I was thinking that is kind of interesting. I think there's kind of a general consensus nowadays that they're making this, they're remaking this. Oh no, I hope it's good. Oh, it's probably not going to be good. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I think it's kind of interesting. I feel like there's much more positive reception to remakes of old video games, and I wonder if that's because, talking about Resident Evil 2, everyone loved the hell out of that game, the remake. Mm-hmm.
Well,
and I wonder if it's because there is such a difference in the technology that there feels like a need to remake video game. So you're kind of like with a lot of these movies, you're like, do we need another one? And I feel like that's going to probably even become more so as, how much clearer or how much better are the visual effects going to be, I
think with, the difference here is, when you remake a game like Resident Evil 2, it's a game that if you're taking this remake to heart, it will really benefit from that remake. Whereas, if we're taking movies like The Fly, or I don't know, whatever else we mentioned, there really is no need for a remake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and here's the thing when it comes to talking about technological advances, is that here's where, and this is so hyper specific to the horror genre, I feel like, which is why I feel like when you get into a lot of the depending on your preferred flavor of horror, one of the things that I've always found stood out to me as being particularly grotesque is, body horror. And a lot of the really, really good dark body horror type of, really scary shit you got was out of the, puppetry types of effects that you got from, the mid to late 80s. Right?
The practical effects.
Yeah,
right.
The practical effects. And so I feel like...
Actually, to add to your point, the film The Thing, they did a remake of that, and they hired a whole special effects team that was really excited to do it with practical effects, and then they just CGI'd everything.
Wow. That's offensive, honestly. That's robbing an entire...
But,
that's the issue.
Video and footage is leaked of some of the practical effects that they had planned, and they were fucking rad.
That could have been so good.
I think
that's the issue.
It was 2 Halloweens ago, somebody posted this compilation video from YouTube that was just a bunch of good compilation scary scenes from different mid to late 80s horror practical effect horror films, B and up, right? B films and shit. That were all a lot of largely really fucked up body horror shit, and it was so grotesque and just hair raising fucked up. And the thing with it is, like, I really do genuinely feel like we lose a lot of that in that transition to CGI because there's a certain degree of it that seems unreal. And I feel like what is scarier about the practical effects is that 1/10 of the uncanny valley that's left over in the... Right? Yeah, in it.
I would 100% agree. I'm much more creeped out by some of the older 80s gore than, like, say, what's on The Walking Dead, which is much more realistic. Yeah.
Going back to The Thing, there's all these awesome documentaries, like DVD extras, where they're, like, explaining how they did these awesome practical special effects, and, like, that was like pea soup and gross shit spurting out of that tube.
Yo, right.
we melted this and did that. Like, what would they? What's the future of special features going to be? Computers.
Yeah, right. Like literally.
We did some computers to this, and then the computers did that, and we computers did so hard.
So many computers.
Well, okay, speaking of practical effects, and I mentioned this earlier, I brought up Evil Dead, and one of the remakes that I did want to talk about, or at least mention, was the Evil Dead remake.
What is the Evil Dead in Evil Dead?
Because, like, okay, there's no replacing Evil Dead as the classic, cult classic that it is, but I didn't hate the remake either.
Oh my gosh, I never heard about this.
And they did use some, not a lot, but they did use some practical effects in it. So the gore was okay.
Yeah, and it's probably... I probably don't have as many issues with that film just because it wasn't like... It was called The Evil Dead, and in spirit it was The Evil Dead, but it wasn't just like, It was faithful to The Evil Dead while also, like, doing its own thing.
So, I think the reason I want to bring that one up, and I'm glad you at least enjoyed it on some level too, because, like, I feel like... I don't think The Evil Dead needed a remake, but when it's treated maybe more as like an homage, it's not so bad. Remakes aren't entirely evil, and especially with like some films, like say Pumpkinhead, is not a great movie. I watched it last Halloween again, and I was like, this is worse than I remember it being. I think there's some movies out there that could benefit from a remake. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I'm just trying to fill.
I think we still need to do a Bandage Man movie, which is like a crappy camera. Just go drive out in the highway for a weekend, make $1 million.
We'll each pitch in $1,000. That'll be our whole budget. And
yep, there you go.
Anyone have any last thoughts they want to before we wrap this up?
Hollywood is turning into remakes. Yeah, Hollywood is turning into remakes and anime live action. Watch out.
If anyone wants to give me a bunch of money to remake the Bye Bye Man, I'll totally do it.
The what now?
The Bye Bye Man.
The Bye Bye Man.
I'm unfamiliar. Do tell, please.
You can hear all about it in a previous episode of The Witching Hour.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So are you going to link it?
I'll link it in the show notes.
Can't believe you're making me listen to old episodes.
I know.
Like I have time for that. No, oh my god, no, not, oh.
And now it's time for Silver Bullet News, where we quickly highlight some recent news in the horror genre. First off, we're going to go to movie releases for March. On the 28th, we have the sci-fi movie Captive State. And it's not horror. It may be more thriller, sci-fi, suspense-y, maybe. But I have it on here because, like I said earlier, I don't think sci-fi gets enough love from Hollywood. So we're going to support it here. I want to see it.
Yeah.
It's got John Goodman in it, so.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right.
That's right,
and
he's still alive.
He is still alive, yes.
For the record, I don't say that in a bad way. I say it in a good way, just in this way where I'm just like, I feel like everyone of his generation that I loved at the same time has passed. And so I worry.
All right. And on March 14th, we have Us from Jordan Peele, and that's one I'm definitely looking forward to.
Isn't that the one that's the sequel to Get Out or similar or something?
It's not a sequel to Get Out. I don't think it's related at all. It's
doppelgangers, which is not something I think is explored too often, it seems.
We did kind of briefly talk about it last time because I am curious about it because it is like doppelgangers, and with like him coming out the Twilight Zone that's coming out. I know there was mention that it was like very lightly inspired by one of the episodes from the original Twilight Zone with the doppelganger. I forgot the name of the episode, but it's the one where the lady is in the bus station and she's like seeing her double and it's like,
I want to go watch Twilight Zone now.
Why have you seen every episode of Twilight Zone that I haven't seen? But to be fair, I think I've only ever seen 4 episodes of it total.
Same.
Well, it's on Netflix, so I don't know why you haven't seen it. All of it is on Netflix.
Do you think it's tame enough for my sister? Who doesn't like horror? Yeah, because it's more sci-fi.
She'll be fine. Also in theaters, I think March 1st, I'm not sure about this one, I think Hole in the Ground, I think is coming out this month. It's also sci-fi kind of horror, but like based on the trailer, it's a lot like The Prodigy, so I don't know if they moved it.
They should also
from A24.
They should also release a movie that's exactly the same and just call it Your Ass. So
oh my gosh.
you won't be able to tell your ass from a hole in the ground.
No, that's good. That's good content. That's incredible.
I'm done for the night.
That's the last one I had in me.
Our first bullet point for Silver
That's the first.
So I know some of us were looking forward to the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Something else we had to look forward to, but not anymore, was the Are You Afraid of the Dark movie.
Oh, that got panned real fast.
It was supposed to come out this Halloween season, but Paramount has removed it entirely from its roster of releases for this year, and that also puts into question the TV series that they were going to revive that was supposed to release, like, coincide with the movie, so we don't know what's happening there. Sorry.
Maybe it's just me and me being a cynic, but I can't help but feel like I wonder how there's a lot of fucked up shit on the old Are You Afraid of the Dark that I wonder if they would be able to get it under the radar even this time.
Are you kidding me right now? Because literally I was right about to say the exact radical opposite of what you were saying. I was like, bitch, yeah, that shit was scary at the time, but like compared to the shit we got now, like, do you think Are You Afraid of the Dark would be edgy enough for today's teens? Like, I'm over here like, that shit's gotta get edgier, and she's over here like, it was too edgy. Like,
I never thought it was that scary, though, because I watched it avidly. I do remember my little cousin.
I'm gonna cut everyone off here and say, go watch the episode The Tale of the Dead Man's Float.
Yes, that's the one.
No, that's the only scary one. The swimming pool one?
The pool one? Okay, that's the one that terrified my cousin. My brother, my 2 cousins used to take swimming classes together. And, like, he refused to get into the water after we watched that, and we didn't find out why that was the reason for, like, until, like, years later.
Do you realize how, like, little I didn't understand that this was a generational level of trauma? This is called generational trauma, my motherfucking friends. Like, the fact that all of us are straight up just like, oh yeah, we're the same age and we can all cite the exact same episode of this show that fucked us up.
I know the podcast is not a visual medium, but I'm just getting the reaction of everyone in the room. Who decided that was okay?
Who decided what was okay?
Oh my gosh!
Oh god! Oh my god! No! Exactly!
I was not prepared for that.
Was it? I'm too okay with this. I remember this episode fondly because it was like my favorite episode, not because I was scared of it, because I just thought it was the most interesting. But I guess that should have traumatized me.
No, literally every single person I've ever spoken to in my generation remembers only this episode, and I'm like, yeah, I wish every other episode of this show was as edgy and terrifying as this one.
I have a new theory. Tale of the Dead Man's Float was season 5 of
it was the latest season, which is what was so.
It was Are You Afraid of the Dark, which makes me feel like every other episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark was a non-scary prank leading up to this one episode
where they were gonna just fuck up our shit.
And I had watched enough Are You Afraid of the Dark at that point. I was like, this is whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put the dye in the water. I can remember it now. It really did feel like a prank. You're just sitting there watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? Stupid Are You Afraid of the Dark? And all of a sudden that thing pops out of the water. And it's like, huh? Hey, I just realized something.
just realized I am afraid of the dark.
I just realized, yeah, bitch, I am afraid of the dark.
Okay, well now
Okay.
we won't even have to think about it because it's not happening potentially.
Next bullet. I only got a couple of these, so let's finish. So next bullet, we're not gonna get a game sequel to Alien Isolation. I'm sorry.
No,
But as of today, it's already happened when this episode goes out. There is a mini series that centers around Amanda Ripley, and it is exclusively on IGN or their YouTube channel. I think it's 6
What
or
does
7.
IGN stand for again? Something Game Network?
I have no idea, actually.
I got nuts.
there you go. Perfect.
Good. Fan-fucking-tastic. Absolutely.
That's it.
I believe it.
Mhm. Okay, but yeah, for any fans of Amanda Ripley and wanting to see more of her character, you have a nice little R-rated
I'm sorry, who
miniseries
is
that you
Amanda
can go
Ripley?
watch right now. Ripley's daughter.
By who?
This last bullet is probably only important to me.
I love making Sage just like suffer endlessly.
Yep,
It's
I love you.
it's my
Ophelia.
kink.
Oh, no kink shaming.
Don't.
Hey.
We
my
don't kink shame on
Hey,
this
hey,
show.
hey. My kink is being kink shamed.
But what if that is my kink?
So the horror movie franchise that we all love and we all look forward to every time there's a new installment
Yeah.
is Hotel Transylvania, and it's getting a 4th movie.
Damn it.
And it's dated for December of 2021. And I'm excited for it because I love those stupid
Jesse?
movies. That's my last bullet.
Okay.
Sage? No, bullshit. No, everyone. Sorry, not everyone quiet, because Alan's been quiet this whole time, and I feel I've just been steamrolling all over this dude. Like, but like for reals, I was made last year to watch Hotel Transylvania 2 on repeat on
Oh no.
Freeform. So I was made to watch the second one like 30 times a day every day for like a day. But it was so good, and eventually I finally got to see the first one. Haven't watched the third one yet. Those movies,
Third one is on Netflix right now.
good, because those movies fucking slap, and they're fucking adorable, and I'm a bitch who loves the shit out of fucking Dracula fucking characters and whatnot. Like, no, fuck that. Like, you drop that type of fucking bullet-ass news, I'm excited as hell. Don't even pretend.
I am okay. For real,
I'm
for
glad.
real,
Okay, I'm glad.
Like,
I haven't
I
seen
love it.
this movie.
It's so cute. They're so cute. They're so good.
The thing
I
is,
really
can I?
love
Can I?
them.
Is this legit?
I'm
Am I
obsessed with
understanding
Mavis.
this?
Are you kidding me? Like, her character.
I have seen the first one and enjoyed it.
She doesn't. Okay, this is the thing that threw me. Okay, Mavis. She's Dracula's daughter, and it's kind of about her kind of being into this human dude. But then they get married and have a kid, like in the sequels. What?
Yeah.
What?
In the sequel, they
What?
Well, they get married at the end of the first one.
What?
Spoilers.
God, that's so fuck. I'm sorry, but that's weird to me. Because I think the whole. Because for me, I was just like, oh, this is clear. She looks like a young kid, and then she looks exactly the same in the sequels, and she has a kid now.
Oh, she's a vampire.
Well, see, vampires should be able to have kids, anyways.
Rude?
Shut up! Just watch the movie, okay? It's cute.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay? And I love Mavis.
Mavis kicks ass. Like,
The Witching Hour has come to an end. For more episodes and other horror-related content, visit us at creativehorror.com. You can help support the show by leaving us a review on iTunes.
And if you really want to go the extra mile, consider pledging to our Patreon. The bulk of our rewards, including mini episodes and audio extras, are accessible for a single $1 a month.
you can also find us on Twitter at Witch Hour Horror. Let us know what topics you want to hear us cover, or share with your friends that you're listening.
Thank you for spending your time with us. Whatever your creative passion is, we hope you get out there and do it because it makes you happy. And we hope you'll join us next time for The Witching Hour.
Look at this son of a bitch, all professional, and I'm sitting here like wheezing into the microphone, needing to piss again because all I've done is slam ciders like a